You just entered the bear crawling nation on the No Agenda Street.
This is Mordant McFall, and welcome to the other side of live. Welcome everyone to the #1 late night habitually addictive motivational show, otherwise known as The Other Side of Live. Tonight's working title is The Nasty Habit of Good Addictions. And tonight we are both alive and kicking from the Bear's Den in Monticello, Georgia. That's right, you got two co-hosts in one place. With me is the dark side of positive, Carl McFall.
It's not two hosts in one place, two co-hosts. It sounds like we're both second rate.
We're cohabitating.
We're both second rate. Watch out now.
Now, why would we swing that way? How did we prep for our show? Did we watch the Avengers? Did we talk about show things? No. What did we do?
I voted for Reservoir Dogs.
I can't even say it. I think you're just a little too gleeful.
We did fill our time with Glee this evening.
That's right. 1.5 shows. After this, we will watch the rest of show number 2, and then we will probably, get our manhood back by killing monsters in Borderlands 2. So tonight, a new night, a new time, a new place. We are now, it's 9 o'clock at our new time, the second night that we're doing this at our new time. We are both here in studio in the Bear's Den, as we are wont to do. We actually talked about having a guest tonight, but you cautioned against that. Why?
Well, the reason I cautioned against it, because every time, as you know, listening, every time we're in the same room together after 6 months or whatever, it's like super hyper, and we're back and forth, and we're throwing things, and it can be a mess. It's like, I don't know that we should have a guest, and that we're supposed to be talking and interviewing them. And for that night, well, we were going to do it anyway, but then the universe said, nope, he's right, stick with him, because it did not work out at all. There was some miscommunications with timing, and actually it's going to work out for another couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, I think the first week in November we will have Doug Grady, speaker extraordinaire, author of the book The Ripple Effect, and our new friend.
Yeah, and hopefully, and he's based here out of Atlanta, and hopefully we'll start picking his brain and laying down some inroads to either get some great advice on how to become better public speakers, how to open doors that we haven't tried to even open yet, and maybe I can ride on his horse for a little bit and get some experience under my belt.
Nice.
While you're out Raphaeling all over people.
Gallivanting across the
universe.
The universe, Tortugaing in Charlotte, North Carolina, and parts in the southeast. So the other thing that we got going on, before we launch into our show tonight, the other thing we got going on is the podcast awards. It's that time of year again.
Well, it is a time of year for elections and voting, and people are just yeah about politics. And this is a rhetorical question, so I'm not actually asking you. Okay. When's the last time a president actually changed your life? When's the last time a congressman was there for you in your time of need? Never. But you know who is every Tuesday night? We are. We are always there for you. We're always here helping you up out of the darkness. And you can cast a vote that matters. Go to thepodcastawards.com and nominate The Other Side of Live for the Podcast Awards. We really love your 3 seconds of your time, and we won't raise taxes.
We won't. Charles knows that. I agree with him on everything that he said. At the end of that tirade, we differ in our opinions on the voting process and whether you should vote.
Well, this is definitely, we can agree, this is definitely a vote that matters. You go and nominate us, it will matter to us big time.
You only have to do it one time. In fact, you can only do it one time. So if you're going to vote for other shows as well, you have to vote for them all at once.
All at one time.
Vote for us, put us in there under the general category. Mm-hmm. And they'll ask for our URL, which is theothersideoflive.com.
Right.
And the show is The Other Side of Live. Blah, 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 blah. There you go.
It all matters. We'd love you a long time.
So last week's Tosol 64 annual backwards goals. Success Freaks 10. October.
Yep.
And as always, I always think that, you know, I'm excited about the book. I like the book. It's changing my life, blah, 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 blah. But I'm always worried that it's going to be kind of a dry subject, and it was not last week.
Well, I had something pointed out. I chatted with our friend Lee Brown today of Dirty Boxers. Actually, you bailed. I had a great time hanging out with him on his 24-hour podcast this weekend.
I did miss out on that.
Yeah, I thought about texting you, but I figured you're tired or busy or, you know, different things going on. But
I have no life.
I think I ultimately did about 4.5, 5 hours with him off and on.
Holy cats, Batman.
It's so easy, though, because you're not the only one on. You know, other fans were in there talking with him. He's talking to people in the studio. But you look up like, crap, 2 hours have gone by. I got to get some stuff done. I'll be back later, you know. And it was a lot of fun. But we were talking today, and he went and bought the book based on our recommendation a couple months ago. And he went and bought the book, and he actually made a good point about chapter 7 or 8. It kind of starts repeating itself. And I said, you know, you're right, absolutely right. But we got kudos, and I felt like we really didn't focus on the book too much last week. We did a summary. We said, this is where it is. This is what it's based on. And then we took Success Freaks and built on top of that.
Right. Now, I got to say that, and I've heard that about him. I've heard that about T. Harv Eker's books. I've heard that about other people's books. But the thing is, if you're going to learn anything, sometimes you need repetition. And I think with the book that we're working on, with Raymond Aaron's book, it's not so much repetition as they're building on each other. You know, he'll say, okay, do this exercise. Okay, now take that exercise and do this with it. Okay, now take this other one that you've done, and he'll build on it and build on it. There's a lot of repetition in there, but it's all building on each other.
Yeah.
And you're using everything that you've learned.
But
it's like you're learning sand the floor. Okay, now paint the fence.
Yeah.
Okay, now wax my car.
Wax your what?
Wax my car.
Oh.
Car. You don't understand my language.
I thought I heard a hard K at the end of that. We do have a quick call. It looks like, if we want to talk to him.
Find out who it is.
You want to find out? All right. Are you clicking or I'm clicking?
You're clicking, baby.
Okay. And they went away. What happened? Did you hit drop?
No, I just clicked on it and I just touched
it. You said I was clicking.
I didn't know. No, call us back. See, we say this is a live show, but you know, nobody calls in, so it's not really a live show. So if there's a threat of it being live, we get rid of it.
Well, it is indeed live. 218-632-1724 is how you can get hung up on. That is 218-632-1724. Call it in, because tonight is about habits versus addictions. And that's quick thing, not that she's actually listening, but my daughter's birthday is actually today, so
happy birthday to you.
She just turned
happy birthday. I'm sorry.
in our world she turned 6. I think in her world she turned about 18. Good. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
No bueno.
No
bueno at 6. It's hard at 12. No bueno at 6.
So it's gonna be interesting, especially if she gets a baby sister, which is what we're telling the universe we're having. So, that's going to be an interesting competition.
Boy. You're a poor son.
Two boys.
2 sons. Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, we're fine. They'll both be bossed around. They'll be fine.
Yeah.
Now, if there's 3 boys, if this one for some reason turns out to be a boy, which it won't, she's going to be the queen of the roost, right? Yeah. She's going to boss them around like nobody's
And woe
business.
to the man who wants to date her.
Yep. Well, just because she's my kid, you know.
Yeah.
I think, did I not talk about that on the air?
I don't know.
That's an interesting moment. This is
a
nice little interesting moment for radio. Is the kind of dad, and we did call her back, so we'll pick that up in a second. But as a dad, I always thought I'd be that kind of dad who would be the cleaning the shotgun to scare the boys. I'm like, as I've watched her grow up, just in the 6 years, I'm like, nah, she's got a bullshit detector like nobody's business. She has got me for a dad. I'm always messing with her, always pushing her, always teaching her bigger, better, more.
Yeah.
And to value herself and to not let other people put her in her place. And woe to the boy who tries to date her, because me and her 2 brothers will get in line behind her when somebody wants to whistle, hey shorty, at her. She will whip out a string of words that'll make her blush.
Curl your toes.
Yeah, and probably punch him in the eye. So we're all good there.
That's a cat, just like Mama.
Now, no clicky. I got this. All right, 480, you are in.
Hello.
Hello. Who is it?
Hi. This is Jenny from Arizona, otherwise known as Mom. Hey, Mordant, how are you?
Hi, how you doing, Danny?
I'm doing good. I just wanted to say that, I really appreciate all the things that you put up on Facebook and your shows and everything. Well, I know you personally, but what you say every day online and stuff. It really helps me. It really does.
Well, thank you very much. And I have to say, to keep my transparency, it's not just me. We have a couple of people that are working with. Actually, I have one other person that's working with me, so I have to give a shout out to them as well. Thank you, Sharon Watson, for doing that. Everyone should have a Watson.
Yes, I believe I recognize that name from my daughter Rosa.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it's nice talking to you.
Well, you keep up the good work. And I hope to see you soon when you come to Arizona.
I will definitely see you soon.
That'd be, what, February, March?
February, March.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll see you there. Well, you keep up the good work, and you guys are really helping a lot of us out here that just, spend most of our time on the computer.
Well, hey, while you're spending your time on the computer, you can go nominate us as well. Bring the whole state of Arizona with you, and we wouldn't hate you.
We would not.
Okay, I'll do that.
Very cool.
Thank you,
I'm
Jenny.
one of your biggest fans, and you know that already.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, take care. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I think she was saying she loved me.
I think she was.
Yeah, I think she was just being nice to you.
Yeah, that's what she's definitely.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I got too. Tonight's show, let us move into it. Come on now, here we go. The Nasty Habit of Good Addictions, originally entitled Habits vs Addictions. We wanted to contrast the two somewhere in there.
Did you just say VS instead of versus?
I did.
I almost didn't call you on that. I'm like, no, I have to. What?
Originally entitled Habits versus Addictions, we wanted to contrast the two. Somewhere in there, as we are wont to do, Charles and I found different ways of looking at these two lifelong friends and foes, habits and addictions.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop,
and just to set the playing field here, you are coming at it. You tend, in all of our pre-conversations, you definitely tend to find being addicted to that great emotional state, being addicted to love, making addiction a positive. Whereas I am coming in, this is just setting the playing field. We're going to get going here in a second.
Yeah, baby.
But I'm coming in with, to me, addiction is all negative. Addiction, one, is a lot of excuses sometimes. Now, I'm also going to give the medical standpoint, because I'm not this guy who blows off addictions and, everything's a choice, yada, yada, yada. There's help for everybody, but there are physical, medical things that happen with drugs, with any kind of chemicals you put into your body. But I've been going through, on your recommendation, The Power of Habit by somebody. I can't remember his name, but it's an interesting book. And I got this idea, because you've always said that you have an addictive personality, that you come from an addictive history. And as I'm listening to the habit book and habits and changing the rewards or keeping the rewards and changing the habit in the middle and blah, 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 I started looking at your life going, I've known addicts, and you don't act like most of the addicts I know. And I'm wondering, I asked you, I said, what if we talked about habits versus addictions? So we're going to talk about the drugs, we're going to talk about alcohol, we're going to talk about work addictions, sex addiction, not like nymphomania, but the emotional states and all that stuff. Don't make the comedy face at me. So this is where we are. I'm coming in as addiction is negative. You're going to try to make it a positive. I think I'm going to really take the standpoint of habits, and I think it's going to be an interesting show.
Well, yeah, I think it is too. And I want to start off actually giving a quote that actually throws into your direction. Famed psychologist Carl Jung said, every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol or morphine or idealism. So that's more in keeping with what you think, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. Read that again.
Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol or morphine or idealism.
Yeah, I like that last part, idealism.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of people just lose that. I'm not an addict. I don't shoot heroin. Yeah, but you go out and march every freaking weekend and leave your family behind, So.
Yeah. Now, getting on to habits, Aristotle said, excellence, I speak for a living. Excellence is an art won by training and habituation. We do not act rightly because we have virtue or excellence, but rather we have those because we have acted rightly. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit.
I love that. So, all right, show's
Easier
over.
read than said, baby.
You just made my cases on everything.
You're right. All right, show's over. Let's just shut down.
Now let's just talk Borderlands.
Boom, baby.
Oh, So take us home. Not take us home. That's the end of the show.
Let's start off with because we had a conversation as we were getting into this, and you gave me some notes, and I was trying to put those things together. How did you want to get into this at first, or what was the beginning of our conversation before? Because I want to lead into that, and then we'll get into all the other stuff that I want to talk about.
Well, let's talk about my first thought, because I don't remember exactly how we started all the different conversations, and we just play it by ear as we go. That's what makes our show so great. But my first thought was, you talk about doing the drugs in your youth, doing the alcohol, and you've said to me many times, he fell out of his chair. That was alcohol withdrawals right there. Bam! But you've said to me many times, I'm an addict. I'm an addict, and I just don't.
I have to poo-poo that. Right. I don't say that, and I don't believe I have said that. I've said that you may have thought I implied that because I've quit caffeine a number of times. I've quit desserts a couple of times and always go back to it. And whenever I talk about going back to it, I say, don't break the seal because it comes back with vengeance.
I could have
But I've not said that I have addictive
Maybe
personality.
I thought you said you had an addictive personality. I could have sworn you said
I think
that.
You might have used some of the same syllables in there about my personality, but I don't think the and tiv was in there as well. But anyways, go on. Let's move forward with this.
But the idea is what I thought. I don't get the vibe that you're an addict. I don't get even from your stories, your actions, none of that speaks addict. So my thought was, what if, okay, we have to go on a faulty premise, but still it works into a good one. Okay, let's say you were saying you're an addictive personality.
I have an addictive personality.
Thank you. My whole thought process was, what if you weren't addicted to the drugs or to the alcohol? I mean, you don't want to break the seal. You don't drink alcohol now. You don't go back and party or anything like that. You don't smoke cigarettes. You're looking at me. I had a funny thought.
It just reminded me that I have cigars for you in the car.
Oh, you rock. I smoke all kind of long things. See, in the room. That's why you don't bring a guest in.
Yeah, that comment made me so gleeful.
Yes. So, but I was thinking, as I'm listening to the book, what if most of the things that we think are addictions are not? What if they're habits? Because the idea of a habit is you have a trigger, which goes hand in hand with addiction. Now, again, I want to be very clear. As we go into habits, we'll come back to the medical part of addiction because there are medical addictions. Okay, I get that. I'm a medic. I'm a paramedic. I've got medical training. I fully understand the science behind it. But we're going into 99% of the population who think they're addicted to something aren't. I'm addicted to my soaps. I'm addicted to Jerry Springer. No, you get away from a week, 2 weeks, you don't go back to it. That's not an addict. So what if it's just all habit? You have a trigger, then you have a behavior, which is the habit, to get to the emotional reward, to get to the reward,
right,
which is a lot of times emotional, but it can be, it can be whatever. I watch my soaps because they make me feel better or they take me away from my world. My wife does not like to go to movies that are real, that have realness to them, because she goes to a movie to escape for an hour and a half. She wants to watch fantastical things, not Pay It Forward. She hated that movie because there's something bad that happens at the end. Yes. Yeah. But it's a real twist in the movie. I loved it for that. She hated it because she wanted to get away from the world for an hour and a half. That's the trigger, the habit, and the reward. And that's what I was thinking. Well, now, obviously not with you, but I was like, well, what if you talk about emotional states a lot and being addicted to good emotional states? We're going to get into that too. My thing was, well, with the emotional state, that's the reward, right? I want to feel love, so my trigger is I'm alone. I'm lonely. Somebody shows me attention. The habit is I get with the wrong person and let them abuse me verbally, treat me bad, whatever. The reward is I feel like I'm with somebody. I feel love because this is what I was told love was.
Right. Especially if you grew up in that situation. Right. Especially if that's what you learned love was from mommy and daddy. If that kind of abuse, for me, one of the things that I struggle with in my life is being emotionally unavailable. And I've worked through that pretty well to the point where I have some very, very close friends and have had a number of intimate relationships. Not a lot, but, more and more. My quality time with my dad was watching Bob Black Sheep or some other TV show in his den. That was it. So, you know, there wasn't a lot of huggy in my family. There were some, but you know, not a lot. So I'm used to that. I'm not necessarily comfortable, especially with it right away. I have to work into it. So that's my habit. That's what I'm used to. That's, you know, that's the kind of intimacy, the level of intimacy I'm comfortable with. So I'm going to look for somebody else who's like that. Same thing with somebody who's been
we watch Glee all the time. Not
so
just a show, but I mean, we
that I
watch
can have those experiences. Yeah. Because if you know how we all have something that's called mirror neurons, which means that if you lift your hand up, certain areas of your brain light up because it's those part of the brain that need to be lit up to make those things work. However, if you watch somebody lift their hand, the same areas in your brain light up. If you have an emotional response, certain areas light up. If you see somebody having an emotional response, the same areas in your brain as in theirs light up. So you get to have that emotional response, which is why dreams seem so real. You're actually there. You're actually physically feeling it in your head. You watch a movie. You're actually there. You're actually physically feeling it in your head. Now, we're going to get into a little bit later is how emotions are really just chemical responses. And certain things are connecting with your cells, feeding your cells these chemicals that your cells become somewhat addicted to, whether they're positive or negative. So some people can actually become addicted to the bad stuff happening in their life.
Yeah.
So that's why you keep looking for those relationships, not consciously. Nobody's going to do that consciously. You look for those relationships that can be hurtful to you because that's what you grew up with. That's what love was. The thing that you have to strive to do in your life is how to rework those neural pathways, creating new ones. Learn to do something new so that you can have a different experience in your life, so that you're not a victim of your experience in the past.
Right. As we know, I've been losing weight lately, and I actually had an interesting conversation.
You are a slender reed.
Had a conversation on Sunday with some family members. And the gentleman's older. He's my wife's grandfather, and he's been trying to lose weight. And he's like, "How do you do it? I've been doing all this and that." I said, "I just write it down. Writing it down changed my habit, because you don't even know the habits you have. Because some people will say, my mother taught me this, is you can get addicted to food. You get addicted to food, and she would point out in other people's lives how they were substituting food for love or this and that. Sure, but it's still not an addiction for the most part. It's still a habit." Because I found with me, I would get bored with work, and I'd go, okay, I want a snack. I'm a little hungry. Instead of getting a little snack, I just put a bowl of chips in front of me, which isn't naturally bad by itself, but then I eat the whole bowl, which again isn't naturally bad by itself, but you do that over and over again, and you don't even realize. The problem is most of our lives, I'm going to say this again clearly, most of our lives, all of us included, we don't even know most of what we're doing. You couldn't list... For most people, could not list throughout the day exactly what they did for 50% of the day.
How much money they spent on what?
Right. What did you eat for lunch and how much did you eat? What did you watch today? Who'd you talk to? What did you do from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock?
How much time did you spend on Facebook?
Exactly. You know, most people can't answer those questions. I can only because I prepared for the show. But
do you have a list of all the things you did and how much time you spent?
And mentally, I mean, I know basics. You know, most of my day I could recount it with pretty what people would call impressive detail. But it's only because I paid attention to little. Because I've learned to break it down in little things. Not that I need to remember everything I do, but because I started just simply writing down what I ate. You know, I measured out for a long time. For about the first 2 months, I measured out my chips into a bowl. Then I got to where I could just do it by sight. And I noticed, like, wow, that's a little amount of chips. But I'm going to stick with this. I want to lose this weight, so I'm going to stay under this number. And it's just an arbitrary number, I guess. I don't know. I put in the information, asked for it, gave me a number.
Right.
Right? So I'm going to stay under this number. Well, staying under that number has worked. There's the trigger. There's the reward. I see the number. I stay under it. That's the habit. I guess the trigger is I want to lose weight. But anyway, I don't know. You'll tell me. The reward is, hey, I see it working. I see those numbers dropping on the scale. But I'm looking at these chips going, wow, that's just a little amount of chips. And then I ate them like, well, I'm good. I'm not hungry. I'm good. And then I realized after about a week or two of doing that, of measuring the food and seeing the smaller amounts and seeing how satisfied I was with them and making better choices because I want to stay under that number. It's like, wow, I ate a lot only because I was bored and I didn't realize I was eating.
When you were growing up, were you trained to finish your plate?
I can't remember, to be honest.
If you let's pretend you were. If you were, and you have, let's say you have a big ice cream,
Yeah.
I'm an ice cream eater.
Yes, you are.
I will take a lot of ice cream and put it into a bowl. I will take too much ice cream and put it into a bowl.
I would do the same thing until I start measuring it.
Maybe I'll get to a point where I'm full. I could stop now, but there's
ice cream in your bowl.
More in the bowl.
Right.
Or that's a popcorn, something else that you're just eating, and then I'm kind of full. But wait, there's more in the bowl. Especially if you're a member of the Clean Plate Club, where you have to finish everything that's on your plate. So if there's still food there's starving kids somewhere in the world, you've got to make sure you eat all your food. So portioning it out ahead of time is probably helping you a lot.
It is, especially the ice cream. That was a good one. Cause I used to put a scoop, 2 scoops. That just doesn't look like enough. And third scoop, maybe a fourth one. Okay, the bowl, because it's symmetrics. Is that the right word? Symmetry. Symmetry, I think is the word I'm looking for. Symmetrics. It's the UK version of symmetry. So, but it's that balance. You get a big bowl, and it looks empty. You get a small bowl, it looks full. So it's your mind playing tricks on you a little bit. It's a balance a little bit. And then I measured. I can eat a cup of ice cream and have a decent amount of calories. And it's a cup. And I pack it in there and I dump it out. I was like, wow. But then I start eating it. I cut it up and it fills the bowl. I was like, okay, that's a good balance of ice cream. And I realized I used to eat 3 cups of ice cream because it didn't look right. But simply writing it down, this phone, I keep holding my phone because that's where my program is. This phone doesn't stop me from eating. The numbers themselves don't stop me from eating. I don't cheat on logging it because logging it actually doesn't change my weight. I can skip logging it and I still eat. As long as I eat right, I'm going to lose weight. It's the knowing, just the seeing in front of you what you do. It changed that habit like that.
Yep.
I was never a big
makes you
eater.
aware.
Yeah.
I used to wonder where all my money went during the week. Until I got those little bank envelopes they would give you, and I've got one marked life, I've got one marked gas, I have one marked miscellaneous purchases, and one marked food, and I take a certain amount of money that I can spend during the week, and I put it in there, and as I'm pulling it out, I'm realizing this is happening. Now, does this mean I can't get more money later? No, of course not, but at least I'm aware. At least it slows me down to go, oh, look, I've just gone through this much money. Is this
writing
really
budgets with the wife?
Yeah.
And that did the same thing. We never quite went the envelope route, but just knowing, just coming back to it more than once every 2 weeks. We come back to it at least every 3 or 4 days. We visually check the account. We check our bills. We were talking about, okay, tomorrow we're going to need to get gas, so let's make sure everything's lined up. We did that for 2, 3, no, longer than that. We started doing that when I first started this job. I've been in this job. Next month I'll be in this job 6 years. So let's say for 5 years. For 5 years we've been doing that. Early this spring, I think it was, this summer, for some reason we kind of stepped away from it. She just started doing stuff, and we knew we were going to be spending extra money on gas because she's doing all that vacation Bible school stuff and taking the kids around, all kind of summer fun stuff. We didn't up our budget. We didn't really focus. We stepped away from the budget for some reason, and man, it tanked. And this is where we can get into the negative and positive a little bit, is immediately it went back to that old message that she had. We both had it, but the reason it went to hers is I've been actively working on habits and moving forward and seeing the changes we've made in 6 years. It hit that message. She goes, oh, why are we here again? We're horrible people. We messed up. I was like, no, we just didn't budget. We didn't sit down and say we're spending this. We told each other on the phone. Right. We mentally knew, but we never got back to what we're doing. The choice there was to give up, which a lot of people do. Quitting smoking, quitting drinking, quitting I give up sometimes. But
I wish I could quit you.
Well, that's true, though. In a sense, that's you talk to your best friend more than you talk to somebody you're with, the girl or boy you're with. You talk to, or you're with that person you don't need to be with, the old boyfriend, old girlfriend that you dumped. And I'm getting this, move on.
I was like, oh, where are you going with this?
You give up when you hit that negative
Well, that's what they
message.
talked about in The Power of Habit, because with that, they talked about as you're changing your habit. Let's say you have just like you said, you have the trigger, you have the routine, and then you have the reward. I'm clean and sober 8.5 years. It's almost 9 years now. So I've had a little bit of experience with that, both drugs and alcohol. I've had a little bit of experience with that. I've talked to some people who've gone into AA. I have not gone through the program, though I've attended meetings and spent time with friends. What that does for them is it gives them, you still have the same trigger. The trigger of, oh, I'm feeling lonely, so I want to, or I don't feel good about myself, or whatever it is, so you drink. Either if you want to go out and be social, You know, so you go out to where you can have alcohol and hang out with your friends or whatever. That's the routine, and the reward is you feel better about yourself. So what they would do is they'll change those three things. You still have the same trigger. You still, oh, I'm feeling kind of this, I'm feeling down about myself or whatever. Same trigger, but instead they have their meetings. They have a different thing, a different routine that they go through. If they go to meetings, they have social interaction, which is what they got before with the drinking. They have a sense of peace that they're gaining, a sense of calm that they're gaining, that they were getting from their drinking, and that's a reward. So they have a different routine with that. And
So,
I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, let's talk about addictions.
Yeah.
You talk about AA, it's a nice transition, because there are physical addictions. You were the big one on addicted to emotions, talking about that kind of thing.
I think that the habits are the physical things that we do. I think that the addictions are that yearning, that maybe an emotional thing. It's more of a feeling, you know, whether it's a physical one or it's a emotional or whatever. That's what addiction is. Habit is those things that we do about it. You do day to day to day to day to day, over and over again.
I think habit can feed the addiction. Or defeat it, depending on
Absolutely,
how you
and addiction can create habits, certain
course.
habits that you do.
Right.
What's your habit? Well, my habit when I go home, I'm tired, so I'm going to crack open a beer. I go home, for me, I'm hungry, so I'm going to eat some ice cream. You know, there's my trigger. I'm tired and I want to feel good.
I think we have a lot of smokers in our audience. And again, weigh in. We're halfway into the hour. Weigh in here. 218-632-1724. That's 218-632-1724. If you're on the podcast, call 206-666-5458. Leave a voicemail or go to our speak pipe on any of the sites that we're on. But I think we do have a lot of smokers, cigarette smokers that listen to us. And I've seen them. I've seen some of my friends try to quit. But they have that habit. They wake up and they light that cigarette. It's that muscle memory. And so when they try to quit, they'll substitute with, I've seen people chew gum. I've seen people do carrots. They have to substitute something. But my thing is yes, you build up an addiction. A muscle memory addiction. Your fingers miss it. Your teeth miss it. Your arms miss it. Your brain physically changes when you smoke nicotine over a period of time. It can change back until you've done it for so long that it's not changing back. So you have that addiction. You have that craving for a cigarette. You just need, and you do need it. I had a friend try to go cold turkey. We ended up punching each other in the nose about 2 weeks before my wedding.
But there are some people who can quit cold turkey.
Right.
My dad did it. My mom couldn't.
Well, did he substitute? You know,
You know what? I think he went. I never remember him smoking cigarettes, and he adopted us in like his mid-40s. So I never remember him smoking cigarettes. I do remember him smoking a pipe, and then eventually nothing. So I think he transitioned to that. My birth mother, smoker of 40 years, or at least 30 years. She quit with no withdrawal whatsoever. She did hypnosis. She went with a friend of hers, and her friend it didn't take right away. The friend had to go back. But my birth mother, it took. I had another friend of mine who reeked of cigarette smoke. I mean, I hang out with a bunch of non-smokers, and she was one of the few smokers there. And some of them didn't smell, but she really smelled cigarettes wherever she went. She went to a hypnotist, no problem, no withdrawal. And then one night she's in a bar, and she's just like, you know what, I think I'll be fine. I'll have a cigarette. Broke the seal. It came back with a vengeance.
Now, and I agree. There's like that true alcoholics. They can't be around alcohol.
As opposed to those fakers.
Like you. Oh, no.
Well, no, you're right, because they're alcoholics. They have something, when they quit, they have something they call a craving that they have to fight against. That you know, a physical need to want to have alcohol. Now, I've never suffered that.
It's mental too in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Just they call it the demon. I mean, and honestly, there's some great acting on that fire. Rescue Me. On Rescue Me, they talk that one of the little understories is a lot of alcoholism with a lot of people, and there's some really good acting as far as those who are rehabilitating themselves and seeing that beer and just breaking out in the cold sweat, and it's a physical response. I mean, obviously the people sprayed them, but you see what I'm saying? You're right. When you talk about quitting something, I think AA's got it right. You've got the steps, but you don't. I've never quit anything immediately that I've done for a long time. I didn't quit being an asshole overnight. I did it for so long. I had to taper down. I still do it sometimes.
Every once in a while it comes back.
But that's where we talk about habits. I think we're going to talk about habits a lot going forward throughout this year and probably into the next. Probably forever. But, It's really big in our radar.
We've made a habit out of talking about
because
habits. I'm sorry.
But it's like the losing weight. I tried treadmills. I've tried doing a walking regimen with my wife. I've tried a bunch of things that never worked. It wasn't until I went, I've got to change my life. And I changed one little thing. One little thing. I didn't have to change this huge routine and get into this thing with walking or treadmilling or working out. I changed one little thing. I just started writing it down. And slowly but surely it's changing a lot of what I do. And there's still habits to fight against, man. Old bad habits of your brain going, there's a plate, fill it up. Oh, you want all this ham, you want all this cheese, you want all this deviled eggs. We just had Easter Sunday lunch on Sunday, so even though it wasn't Easter, and I did, I kind of, even though I thought I was taking smaller portions of my plate, I filled the plate. And I was halfway through the plate and I was full. And the little thing kicked in, it's like, but I clean my plate. That's what I do. And I usually clean my kids' plates because I was poor for a very long time, and I just don't throw away food.
And that's a carryover. And yeah, that's why you have to give yourself less.
Most of my life I was poor.
Now, when I was talking about the going through the whole trigger routine and reward thing, the reason I brought all that up was you had talked about how you and your wife were doing so great with I think it was your budget or whatever, and then all of a sudden it faltered. And things were getting ready to go back to the other thing. Something will happen when people kick a habit or change a habit, like with AA or whatever. Something will happen that they'll be fine. People will be fine with this new way of learning or their new way of being, unless they go through a traumatic experience. Somebody catches a disease in the family. They get into a car wreck. They have a hard time financially, and suddenly they fall apart. Suddenly they revert back to what they've known all their life. They'll begin smoking again, or they'll do something else again. And the only way to combat that, in other words, you can change your habit and you'll be fine. You'll be changing out of doing the negative thing and exchanging it for a positive thing, and you'll be fine until you're faced with a difficult time in your life. You have a breakup, you lose your job or something like that. The only thing that they found that carries you through that cements the habit in there is some form of belief. AA uses a belief in God. You can use a belief in whatever, a higher power of your life. It doesn't even have to be that. You can believe in what you're changing your life into, the vision you have for your life. I really started moving away from the alcohol and everything because I was going to stop for a while. What kept me going was I started really liking the sobriety a lot. That's what changed for me.
And in all seriousness, you can believe in us. You can know that we'll be here to share our stories, never pass judgment, and have some kind of camaraderie with you when you start sharing your stories. Not saying we've been through everything. Not saying we know all the depth of darkness that's in the world. But there's a camaraderie there when somebody's just open and honest about what they've been through and go, hey, I've been through some stuff. I haven't been through that, but I can feel that you're in pain, and we're just here to help you up. You can believe in that.
Absolutely. And that's also, I have to put the caveat in to say, if you're doing something that's not very smart, we're going to let you know. So, it's not going to be all sunshine and roses all the time. And chances are, if we do that, we're going to share through some experience we've gone through ourselves.
Exactly. I'm actually chatting with Rathburn in the chat room right now. That's why I'm typing over here. She put in at one point she was addicted to pop, as she calls it, which most normal people call soda.
Soda, yeah. Pop. She's on the pop.
It sounds like she's a drug on the street.
She's from Wisconsin.
Is that what you kids call it these days?
Pop.
But she said she would go through like a case and a half a day or something. I used to drink a lot of Mountain Dew. Dude, I'd go through like 4 liters of Mountain Dew in a day. That was my day, was 4 liters of Mountain Dew and a couple of Snickers bars when I was on the ambulance. And my wife worried about me. But it was my coping habit. It was trying to make myself feel good when everything else made me feel bad. But it wasn't addiction because I stopped drinking it. I never had to withdraw. I never had that physical craving. And I was asking her, I want to stop typing and ask her, but I said, well, what happens if you drink Pepsi now? And she said she realized, it took a little while, but she realized it was the physical carbonation that she craved or desired or whatever. And she got one of these soda makers that didn't have... She basically makes her own carbonated drinks.
Right, yeah, I know that they're on now.
Right, okay. So I was asking her, well, if you drink Pepsi now, would you go on a bender? I mean, to me, an addiction is you always want it. An addiction is something you have to fight. Addiction can only be dealt with. A habit can be changed. I've had all kind of bad habits in my life, evidenced by my history in podcasting. I used to really slur and talk really slow and mumble my words. And I worked with some people where now it's more natural for me to speak clearly than it is to just drop the ends of words and you know. Do you ever watch 30 Rock?
Yeah.
Jenna Maroney, the blonde
Yeah.
actress, where she does the southern thing because she's from the South, but she talks all proper. And for a commercial, she does this southern thing. And it's this horrible, really twangy thing because she's worked herself up to be. But it's natural for her to speak clearly. It's a very funny episode. Sorry.
Right.
But that's so. I was asking her what happens. Would you go on a bender? She goes, it's actually the opposite. Pepsi turns her stomach now in a hard way and leaves a metallic aftertaste. And I was going to ask her, but you can answer for in a general for her. Would you call that a habit or an addiction?
I think that I think the physical addiction to soda is the caffeine, and I think that you can get rid of that. I think you'd have to get re-addicted to it. What I found in my experience is that if I've stopped drinking soda for a while and then I go back to it, that first can or that first sip, it tastes vile. I'm like, what is this? I liked this. This is awful. And if I have a second, you know, a few days later, that's all that's around. Let me have one of those. And then a third, a couple days later, and then fourth, fifth, and sixth. I get re-addicted. So it's not like, so yes, it is an addiction.
Could it be? I'm not saying it's not. I'm asking, could it be a rehabituation?
I think
where your body
both,
just
sure.
remembers. Okay, I'll give you. It could be both. It could be.
Yeah, but again, I believe that a habit is the physical act of what you're doing. That's your habit. What you're doing is what your habit is. It's the physical yearning, the attachment or emotional yearning to something, being drawn to something. That's the addiction. That's why I think that falling in love is a form of addiction. Now, what you do in that form of what you're doing in that span of being in love, those are your habits that you're forming. And I would advise you that early on, if you have a habit of opening the door, don't lose that habit. You know, and it is something that you can be practiced to do. If you have a habit of saying something sweet to your spouse in the morning, don't lose that habit, because you can't. Oh, I see her every day. She knows I love her. No.
Yeah.
Bad monkey.
Yeah.
Bad. Now, you know, and if the addiction is strong in the beginning, so it really pulls you in to do all those things. But if you train yourself with the habit of doing all those nice things, and you keep doing them, then even as as you get used to the addiction, as it mellows out and your love is still there and develops into something deeper, you'll still do these romantical things that your spouse will be appreciative of, whether she's appreciative of you or of us here at the other side of live.
Absolutely. I'm
This is not
there's something that popped up here that was typing.
So if you want to call in and weigh in on what we're talking about, once again, the number is 218-632-1724. That's 218-632-1724.
Or if you want to talk about just anything else that you have on your mind, that is fine as well. You can call in. We both have it on our computers to watch, so we're not going to ignore you or hopefully cut you off. So, but let's talk about first. Be careful with your habits to jump into addictions, because Lone Squirrel puts in he has to get a gallon of coffee to get around in the day. I thoroughly enjoy my coffee.
Oh yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoy my beer and my cigars, and I've been known to enjoy other habits as well. But what I am very careful with, even especially with my coffee, because you've seen my cup of power. It's a soup bowl. I consciously make the decision, not arbitrarily, not like, well, I'm just not going to do it today. That proves I'm not addicted, because anybody can do that. I just go, no, today, if I need it, I'll drink some coffee. On my days off, I typically don't drink coffee. Now, there's a habit I've built with working. When I come out and sit down on my computer, my coffee cup's here. If I don't have my coffee for one reason or another, let's say, like I called you the other morning. I had to get up really early, go pick up my mother-in-law from work, came home, drank my coffee on the way home. I came and sat down, and I've had my coffee. I'm good to go. But without having the cup here to drink, the habit was weird. It's hard getting started. But that's a habit. I've made sure not to need more and more coffee, because when you start replacing things with chemicals in them for the emotional states in your life, your body will build up that need. That's why people who drink beer, drink to cope with something, drink more and more and need more alcohol, or need that buzz, or it takes more to get the buzz. Or like with painkillers, people who get addicted to them, it gets worse and worse because your body finds a tolerance, builds up a tolerance to it. So that's why I try not to drink too much coffee. I definitely don't drink too much beer. Yeah, I've had a case of beer in my fridge since the spring when everybody was here. I bought 2 cases. We went through 1. And I still have it in my fridge. Yeah, I'll drink 1 or 2 here and there. So what do you think about, just being careful with what you do, consciously being aware,
Everything
so that you
in
don't slip into the
everything in
addiction.
moderation. Of course you can do that. I mean, some people are predisposed genetically to addiction. So if you are one of those people, you have to be careful with that. And how do you determine that when you start? When I used to do drugs, I liked Percocet and things like that. That wasn't my drug of choice, but you know, I enjoyed them recreationally. I do not now, and I don't advocate that. However, I have had a need to take them whenever I've hurt myself, etc., etc. I try to shy away from them. If, however, I need them, I will take them, and I'll keep taking them until I notice, oh, the dosage is not working anymore. That's bad. This is the point where I stop, because I've heard and seen too many people where it is such a slippery slope. I had a friend of mine who, and I had no idea. She goes, "Yeah, I take 50 pills a day." I was astounded at that. Yeah, you think? I was shocked at this.
Yeah.
And she seemed, before that time, she seemed utterly normal. And then afterwards, because my eyes had been open to it, I could see a little bit of the difference in her. But, now again, I don't know why I launched into all this. What did you say before this?
I was talking about being careful about your habits.
So you have to be careful.
Chemicals.
You have to be careful with it, and you have to keep an eye on yourself. You have to know your body, people. Dear God, know your body.
But it even goes into, we talked about idealism in the very start of the show. It goes into craving attention from people. We talked about this when I was in the street with my kids, on the phone with you, about situational ethics, about being around people. I talked about my story with DFACS, about being around people who are at a job that pushes you in one direction all the time. Like DFAC is Department of Family and Children, which is basically the people who come take your kids away. That's not all they do, but that's what they're known for. You know, they're the ones who protect the children. And I actually had a talk with the lady from DFACS, and as I'm bringing up valid, normal, rational points that you and I would think would be a no-brainer to discuss, I had to bring those up with her because their mentality, their bubble, their ecosystem, their emotional ecosystem in that office had pushed to where we have to write everything like this, and you can't harm a kid, you can't look at them sideways, you can't touch a kid. I'm like, so you're telling me I have to let my kids run around Walmart, knock everything off the shelves, scream, kick people, steal stuff? I can, oh no, we're not saying that at all. I said, well, you know, I read the Bible. I wouldn't call myself a Christian anymore because Christians get a bad rap because I like Chick-fil-A, but I also believe in gay marriage. But I do follow the tenets of the Bible. It's like, well, and the Bible says I can spit my kid. That's a religious tolerance belief in the United States. So you're telling me I can't practice my religious beliefs? Well, no, that's not what we're saying at all. So, but that's what you wrote. It's that eco bubble. It's that in this office, everything's this way. And once you get challenged with just a little bit of common sense, you go, wait, that's not what I meant. Your head feels foggy. It's that emotional state that I had a friend of mine, I won't get into a long story, but that negative response. They had to get the, oh, poor pitiful you response. And she did that to me for 6 months before I finally said, I can't be around you anymore. She sat on the phone with a gun and said she was going to kill herself. I'm like, know what? Do what you have to do.
She wanted you to give you, oh, poor baby, poor baby. A lot of us growing up were addicted to certain emotional states. And I'm going to get into that now. In the early 1970s, Dr. Candace Pert found the long sought-after opiate receptors, which are around the outside of the cell wall that chemicals dock to. Basically, our cells are coated with these things that are receptors for different chemicals, different kinds of emotions. A team in Scotland later discovered that the brain makes neuropeptides called endorphins, and endorphins, aka the runner's high, are our own internally generated opiates. So once again, quote unquote, art imitates life. You know, our body generates these opiates so that we can feel good. So man, of course, has made these outside things like beer and alcohol and drugs and things that can make you feel good. It's imitating what our body already does. But those are not the only form of receptors and peptides out there. There's also different kinds of receptors found throughout the brain, and they mediate emotions. So emotions are just basically chemical responses. And scientists begin to think of these neuropeptides and the receptors as molecules of emotion. It became apparent that everything we feel, every emotion, produces a specific chemical or collection of chemicals that matches up with it. What this says is every emotion has a chemical associated with it, and it's our absorption of this chemical in our body by the cells that gives rise to the feeling of that emotion. So basically, everything you're feeling is a chemical response in your body. So you can get addicted to certain chemical responses in your body. You can get, some people, if you're lucky enough to be addicted to joy, you're always going to be looking for that. And some people are looking for that. You know, you can take it to extreme. Again, everything in moderations. But how you have to be careful, because some people are also addicted to negative things in their lives. Some people are addicted, just like you said with your friend, of having people come up to them and go, oh, poor you, poor you. You see that a lot in the elderly. And why this is really, really bad, because as we believe here on the other side of life, we're affecting our reality by what we believe in. You're actually stirring the quantum soup so that you have bad things happen to you, so that you can have all those people feel sorry for you. So you have to be careful with that. So that's what emotions are about, and that's what I'm talking about, being addicted to certain emotional states. Now, the nasty habit of good addictions...
Which we had a very interesting conversation about that title.
The nasty habit of good addictions is, if you're addicted to positive things in your life and you start moving forward with that, you're going to move towards having a most excellent life. Does this mean that you're not going to have troubles? Does this mean you're not going to have hiccups? Does this mean that you're not going to have things that you have to get over, hurdles that you have to overcome? No, that's what life is here for. You're here for the experience. You know, you're here to create a fantastic life for yourself. You're here to grow love and share that with people. But you're also here to grow love and share that with yourself.
Something that touches on in my mind about addiction is nothing's good enough. Just something that pops in my mind. Shadow in the chat room says, I freely admit that I'm addicted to being on stage and the feeling that it gives me when it's a hot crowd. I think of like washed up quarterbacks who keep trying to go back and do some kind of football stuff, who keep coming out of retirement. It's that addiction, it's that thrill that nothing else can replace. It's that chemical high in your brain that nothing else can replace. And I've honestly always been worried that I would find something in my life that I could not replace with something else. You know, especially with my wife. When my wife is not good enough for anything, when I have to go find a job on an ambulance because it just brings me that rush, putting my life in danger and sacrificing time with my family and possibly even bills. You know, there's all kind of positive and negative that goes with that. You know, addiction is that thing that I think you just have to have and nothing else compares.
What's weird about addictions is that they feel good. Even the negative stuff. Even the, oh, my life is crumbling around me, I'm comfortable with this feeling. It's almost like putting on the mantle, that cloak of despair. Ah, that feels good. Even though I feel bad, feeling bad.
Yeah.
It's a weird, addiction is all about chasing what feels good, and that's what we tend to do. We push away from the pain and we pull ourselves towards the pleasure. Mm-hmm. It is up to you not to be a victim of the things that have happened in your past, and to create new neural pathways in your brain so that you can become addicted to more positive emotions. So you can become addicted to more positive emotional states and pull yourself to a better, far more enriched life. That's up to you.
Now, we're not... I won't throw this out, and you correct me if I'm wrong. We're not speaking against having bad habits or doing things that society would say would be bad. You know, I'll go ahead and put out, man, when I crack that beer, especially on a hot summer day, I crack it open, I take that first sip, and it's just, oh, I mean, little angels sing. It's a beautiful thing. It's a little, but for me,
is it a light beer or a dark beer?
It's an amber lager. Anyway, it's a little moments. It's when man, that first nippiness of fall is coming. It's almost there. It's not quite there yet. Or spring coming. It's the first nice little warm day. You were with me in the spring. You'll be here, and the weather's just absolutely perfect. I go outside and I light up that cigar, and there's like nothing like it in the world. It's just a fun little moment. There's other great moments that I have in my life with my family doing other things, but these little things bring me pleasure. My coffee. When I'm out Christmas shopping and it's nasty outside and it's rainy / snowy, I get a Starbucks coffee. Now, I've drank it other times and it's good. I drink coffee every day pretty much and it's good. But it's that moment of those things all coming together. It's like, oh, you know, it's just a perfect moment. So I don't think we're speaking against enjoying what you do. It's when you don't want to do it, you don't know how to change it. I think when you realize you change the things around it, maybe even. You
find a different routine. You're going to have the same triggers. You're going to have the same rewards. But
Can you change your triggers?
Your trigger? Well, the trigger is what's happening. I think eventually as you change as a person, then yes, your trigger will change. In the beginning, it's kind of what you got to work with. I mean, I feel stressed. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Well, my first go-to is, let's say I'm working on something, I'm writing something, or I'm working on something for the show or Tortugas or whatever, and then I'll hit a wall a little bit, and I'll need an immediate gratification. You know, and so I'm like, oh, and I can feel it. I want to feel good right now, and I don't want to get into this other project because it's too big. It's not really, but it feels like it is. So what will I do? I'll, get onto Facebook, or I'll get on, check what's going on. Still all my businessy stuff, quote unquote, but not the very most important thing that I could be doing. So, that's my trigger. The trigger is I hit that wall and I want to feel good. I want to feel like I've accomplished something. And there's nothing ready-made that I can accomplish. I can go online and feel good about what people say. I can go online and do something really, really quick. And look, there, I've achieved my goal. Feeling of accomplishment. It's just like playing World of Warcraft or Borderlands. That's why creative people have to be careful with that, because you have a quest-based game that you go, you do something, you achieve something, you get the reward. It feels good. So that really feeds your accomplishment vibe.
That's an amazing thing you say, because I was thinking about how I apply that to real life, and I was thinking of beating a joke to death.
Yeah.
Okay. You do something. I do something that's fun, that makes my wife laugh. Now, my wife does find me humorous, but I'm not the funniest person in the world to her. So when I can, usually my jokes don't make her laugh, or if they do, she's laughing at me because it's just so stupid type of deal. But if I could truly just say a one-liner in the right moment and make her laugh, originally, I would beat that to death, where it's like, oh my God, I hate you now. Just go away. Because I wanted that rush. I made her laugh. It made me feel so great. It's a different feeling that I can get than anywhere else in the world. We have to, what I've had to do was not necessarily change my habits, not change my trigger, or the end result was to look around, to realize I have other great moments with her that are different, that can bring the same feeling if I pay attention.
Yeah.
And realize it's bringing the same feeling. Just like some people will substitute smoking cigarettes with sucking a lollipop. They'll chew the gum, they have the patches for the nicotine, but you'll still have a lollipop or chewing gum. They're always doing something with their mouth. That's the same way with all our emotional life is, I realized that, I get this great feeling because I made her happy. And what I had to realize is I made her laugh, brought up a moment of joy to her. I can also do that by folding the clothes when she doesn't know that that's done. And she's going, I got to come home and fold all these clothes, and then they're done.
Does she show you appreciation right then?
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Because what that does, then the joy that you got when she laughed at your joke, if she will come up to you and go, wow, thank you for folding these clothes, you still get that joy. So she'll train you to do other things, so you can create other habits. So making her laugh is not the only way to give her pleasure, and then she'll give me pleasure and make me feel like the man.
And vice versa. She's learned that she wants me to do more things that make her happy. She has to say thank you, or not just say thank you, but express that gratitude. It's like, oh man, and sometimes I'd need her to make a big deal out of it. That one example, there was a pile of clothes in our laundry, or clean laundry in our room, and she was off working for the day or whatever. She was out. And I got a wild hair, and I told the kids, we're going to go and do this. And it took up the whole room. Of course, kids folding, it's going to take up the whole room. But we folded the clothes, we put them away. And my wife came home, and she said she didn't even notice that the stuff was, because you get blind. You put on the blinders, you don't see the big piles of stuff you need to deal with. And she walked through, and she said, what are we going to do tonight? I said, well, you got all those clothes to do. We gotta get those things. And she went in. You would have thought I freaking bought her a diamond ring or a new car. She made a big deal out of it, because it was a big deal to her. Because she was like, oh my Jesus, I got to go fold all these clothes. It was, and that was like a solid, when you're building something, when you're making plans, when everybody's going on a trip somewhere somehow, and you're making plans, it's always gonna, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do that, maybe we'll do that, but there are little pivotal moments that lock in. Okay, we're gonna do this. We bought our tickets, so we're flying out on this day, period. That was one of those lock-in moments of, okay, I'm gonna keep doing stuff like that.
And she gave you some really good positive reinforcement.
Right.
I've seen before, I've had friends nag about something. Hey, how come this isn't picked up over here? How come this isn't done over here? And then I've seen other friends dealing with their spouse and saying, when they did something, thank you so much for doing that. You didn't have to do that. That was great. Which one are you going to listen to? Hey, do the dishes, or oh wow, you did the dishes. Thank you. That if you make me feel good about something, I'm going to want to do it again. If you nag me about it, I'm not going to really care, and I'm just going to feel bad. It doesn't really seem to work. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for other people. So,
Absolutely.
and so what I'm looking for is the reward. Basically, what we're all looking for is to feel good.
And we have to be taught what the rewards are, I think, too. Because I've seen situations where the negative's the reward. I just want her to shut up and leave me alone. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to... I want her to shut up and quit nagging, so I'm going to watch
No. Take it past that. Your reward is the peace. Your
the
reward
quiet.
is the
Okay,
quiet.
but it's all of it's negative leading up to that. And is it... To me, okay, I know I see the world differently. So I get what you're saying. But to me, it's still a negative. To get her to leave me alone, the peace... It's still a negative because I always desire to have that interaction. That's just my
That's
bill.
why that's not the reward.
Right.
Her being, her shutting up or anybody shutting up is not the reward. Look, I've got them to shut up. Wait, I need to talk to them now, but I got them to shut up. That's not it. What you want is the peace.
Interesting story, personal story.
Oh, look out.
As we kind of started off on the wrong foot a little bit. That
Who?
way, you and I.
No. Say it isn't so. Give me my ring back.
It's mine, but you can't have it. No, it was an interesting thing. Is we started working together at the Renaissance Festival two years ago. Well, you were a side project. I was working for you, more or less. We're doing More World Radio.
That's why I'm still single. I'm always a side project.
You're here. You're never single when you're here, baby.
I'm not single. I'm not single.
So, Glee. What you missed on Glee. Anyway. Damn it. All right. So we were working on the side. I had to get my thoughts back together. We were More World Radio wasn't part of the Bear Calling Nation. We were doing our own thing. Came up at Christmas. I had 3 guys in the nation. I gave them gift cards to Think Geek because I felt like that was the right thing to do. I always wanted people to take care of me. I've never been in a company that did that. I'm like, as a company, I'm going to do what I can. It's just a little token of everything you've done for me. And you're like, oh, I want that too. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but you're not part of this company. Oh, I want that too. You kept on and on and on for a year almost until I got you the microphone. I got you the microphone and it's almost, until I saw your face, it's almost a...
Excellent!
Oh, sorry, I got to bleep that one. Damn it.
That's too.
Sorry. But it's like, I shut your mouth moment. I'll insert that. But it was almost, and then you were so happy. It's like, okay, all right, you're happy. But I got it because you were, give it to me.
Gifts are one of my what do you call it? Language of love. Love language.
A gift is a part of my language of love. But if you make me give you love, then I don't love it.
Then you made me give it away.
I didn't make you.
You said, "Will you give it?" And I'll hear la la, you giving it away. And then she gave me, I got another one back, and then now you're making me give it to somebody else. I don't remember who.
It should be us giving to each other, and now we're spreading the love out.
Spreading the love, baby. That's what it is.
Because those people.
How much did you? How much
Think
Geek gift cards did you do? How much was it?
I did 3 cards at $25 each.
25 each.
Yeah.
That's not bad. We're gonna have to talk about. We have our team, and Christmas is coming.
Yeah,
Christmas is coming.
But here's the thing: the people that you
ho baby.
We might speak different languages because to me, it's not the item; it's that you thought of me. Because at some point, I'm gonna take Borderlands 1 and trade it in because I have Borderlands 2. Oh, you're very. Because I some items are special.
Mari says foul mouth bear.
I know, I'm the foul mouth bear. I'm sorry. But that we almost did. To me, I had to watch you for a little bit and go, are you going to be the guy that I have to give love to? So if I have to, then I can't. And it wasn't that way. Immediately it changed. And so... And quite honestly, if that microphone means something to you, keep it.
No, because actually,
you only have like 20 of them.
Actually, the one that you gave me that I gave her, she gave me a different one, so I didn't actually have that one still. So no.
I actually gave you the second one.
Again?
Yes.
I got to give this one up too?
No.
Oh my God.
Hey, how about you give up your Yeti? How about that?
Because you keep asking for it. That's why. And if I didn't use it, I'd actually think
it. Or what are the other 50,000
You don't want my SM58.
He has more microphones than girls have shoes. I am just saying.
Charles has a bad habit of being jealous of me right now.
Well, we can buy something. But never mind.
When I was asking about the gift cards, I was thinking about for our team.
Yeah, no. We're talking about. We're going to work that. Shh, they're listening.
No, they're not.
They don't need to listen. Well, let's go into something I've seen in the chat room. Building a habit and building an addiction to a negative situation when you can't help it. What happens when you're, okay, you said you're in a bad car accident earlier. When you're in a bad car accident and you've got to go through a year of therapy. Or a story I heard on my on another podcast I listened to, my boys, Two Guys, One Brain. They're jailers. And over a year ago, they had a fellow jailer. Stop that. I can hear that on the microphone. I want to punch you. They had a fellow coworker get into a fight in the jail.
Yeah.
Part of her job. Ended up getting hurt. Had surgery on her shoulder. She's still not back at work. It's a year later. So what happens when you have that situation where your body's in pain and you do need something to cope with it and you're going through that therapy and it's hard? Can you fall into the habit / or addiction, not to the pain meds, but to this is normal life, pain is normal life, and it sucks? And is there a way to change that, to move out of that when you can't get out of the pain maybe? Was it muscular dystrophy? I think muscular sclerosis. One of those two. They're always in pain, no matter what.
Is there any way to stop the pain?
No. Is there any way to break that? Your habit becomes my life is pain, which
How do
can
you get
drag
out
you
of that?
down.
How do you get out of
of it? I have pain, but my life is not pain. How do you transition?
There are ways to do it. You have to really want to, I think. That means that you have to go out and find other ways to do I have them at my fingertips and say, do this and this and this and this? No, there are other different methods of doing it. You know, some people can try meditation. Depending on the amount of pain and whether or not it's legal in that state is medicinal marijuana. You know, there's other things that you can do that can help you deal with the pain. Sometimes you have to do the medication. I have a number of friends who have their what you quote unquote crazy meds that they take because they're a little wacko, which is not a bad thing. We're all a little wacko, but either they're depressed or they're homicidal or you know, I have weird friends. So they take their meds for a little while and then they feel better. And then almost every one of them are like, oh, I don't need it anymore because I'm fine. And then they go a little crazy again. And they get depressed or whatever it is. And then finally somebody will convince them that once they hit rock bottom, get back on the meds. You know, and after they've hurt their life for a little bit, and I'm talking about extreme cases. You know, so what is it about these people who this is what's good for you? Why are you stopping doing it? Sometimes the meds are necessary, especially if you have a lot of pain and you're like, well, I understand, but if it fuzzies your brain and you're a writer, or if it inhibits your creativity, or it inhibits you sexually, and you know you have a spouse and you really want to have a full life. There are other ways of doing it. There are other ways, you know, there are homeopathic ways that you can discover about helping your body deal with pain. There's acupuncture that helps your body deal with pain. But you have to be willing to go look for these different things. You have to be willing to go whatever it takes. You know, if you're just going to sit back and you're going to wrap yourself up in that, again, in that cloak of despair, and you're becoming addicted to that because that's what you're used to, because you're used to the inertia taking you down the hill, and it's so hard, and believe me, I know, it is so hard to turn around, not only stop and head up the hill, but stop yourself from going downhill, turn around, and then begin going back up the other hill. It's difficult, but you have to really want to. And I don't believe that everything happens for a reason. I think that everything can happen for a reason. So maybe you have a lesson to learn here. Or maybe you're overcoming this and you're learning how to deal with the pain and the depression and all this other stuff. You will be able to share with other people who are dealing with the same stuff. Maybe that's your lot in life. I don't know. But the thing is, if you really want to get beyond this, you have to get to a point of whatever it takes. And then you begin looking for those things. Sometimes it is the meds. Sometimes it's the only thing that'll help you. Sometimes it's some woo-woo thing like acupuncture, or meditation, or you know the medicinal stuff or whatever. Who knows? It's up to you. Again, this is your life. But just sitting there and wallowing in it. Some people have to sit in it long enough for it to suck enough for them to go, finally, I'm done. Well, I know I don't want to do that. I don't want to go look for those other things. I just want to stay here in the house. Well, it doesn't suck enough for you yet because you're there. So it's up to you. How bad does it have to suck before you start to make your life better? Do you have to, really, do you have to go hit rock bottom? And if that's the case, are you addicted to this kind of emotional state? Or is it just your habit not to do anything about it, and you don't want to do anything about it? Or you want to feel sorry for yourself? There's nothing wrong with the pity party. You get rocked in the face. Somebody hits you in the face. You get to reel from the punch. You get to fall down. Hell, you get to lay there for a little while and feel sorry for yourself. But eventually, you got to pick your ass up and start moving and finding a way to make your life better, because the only person that's going to make your life better is you. It may be as simple as making the decision to do something about it and then accepting help. It may be that simple, but you have to make the decision to do something about it, whatever it takes.
And welcome to Tosol After Hours, where the salty language comes out a little bit more on both of us. We're going to talk about some things in the chat room here, but I wanted to bring up this quote from Firefly. Love the TV series Firefly. Love the writing in it. And I heard this the other day. I was going back through, I own the disc set, and I was going back through and watching it again. And this quote struck me as a perfect The Other Side of Life quote. And you get to quote your books all the time, so I get to find one. The quote is, if you can't run, you walk. And if you can't walk, you crawl. If you can't crawl, then you find somebody to carry you. And I'm a firm believer in willpower, and that the human brain, we only use, 5% of it, knowledge-wise, mental-wise. I honestly think that we can overcome, with practice and lots of determination, we can get through everything. I personally take acidophilus pills, which are yogurt, basically, in a pill form, because I don't like yogurt. It's the natural occurring ingredient in yogurt. But what it does is I don't have a gallbladder anymore. Now, for a while, it's hit and miss on what I could eat, what would make me sick. And I'm not talking about, I just threw up a little. I'm talking about, you seen a washing machine? That was my stomach. I'd eat certain things, and it would just twist and turn, and I was miserable. My whole body would react. It was just, I'm utterly miserable. Now I can make a choice. I cannot drink sweet tea. I cannot eat fried chicken. And I'm sure there's some other things that go along with that. I accidentally did some experiments and found out that's what one of my major triggers was. But because I love eating fried chicken and drinking sweet tea, which I now actually do a lot more moderation than I used to, I did some research, and somebody suggested getting these over-the-counter pills, which again is yogurt in a pill form, or eating yogurt, of course. And so I started taking it. So I can either be pill dependent, because if I don't take it and I start eating the wrong things, I get sick, or I can change my life and not eat those things. I can overcome this on my own. I've chosen to still take a natural remedy, but to take a remedy that's outside of my normal zone so I can keep being bad to my body a little bit. What about... I don't know if I believe in curing yourself. I know we could go on for hours about The Secret and what you think you are, and this and that, and the healing powers of the mind, prayer, all that stuff. I'm not diving into that, but I am diving into choosing positive over negative. The article that's about to come out in this month's Success Freaks newsletter, we're going to have to retitle it, because it's not really a House of the Bear. It is, but it isn't. It's really about what we do now. But the article is going to be about me fighting with the birthday thing, and how I allowed my wife to bring the magic that I was looking for. And I'm not going to spoil it. You need to sign up for the newsletter. That's on houseofthebear.com/newsletter, and Facebook. On both of our Facebooks, we have the newsletter there, and we'll talk about it at the end of the show. But that'll be coming out next Monday. But I had to choose one little positive over negative. I made one slight choice. I made two choices, actually. I made a choice to quit fighting. So I wasn't choosing something. I just said, okay, I'm going to quit fighting this. I'm going to quit fighting. Why am I fighting the birthday thing? Just let it go. Just let it ride, really. Just quit fighting against it. The other thing, I chose to fight for something that had nothing to do with the birthday thing. Mm-hmm. That's in the article. But doing that little choice to the positive changed everything. I mean, for the last couple of months, things have been kind of negative, up and down, kind of hard days, good days, hard days. And it changed everything, their whole outlook and all that. What about people who are going through so much in their life, so much negativity? And I've asked her if we can talk about, her, him, I'm not sure, but Genosari in the chat room has been putting out that they want to die, that they're living in pain. It's just a dark time, that it breaks her heart that the girls are taking care of her. And we can't fix that. We can't give you medicine. We can't get you through it. I'm going to give it to you. I'm setting you up here. But what we can do is I think what you can help do is show how making little positive choices won't fix your pain, won't fix that people have to help you, but it might change your life.
Right. If your attitude is that your life sucks, then your life sucks. And that's the reality of it. When you're talking about something that you want to die and you feel you're feeling bad and you feel guilty for all these other things, the best thing that I can say for you right now is, please God, talk to somebody, talk to a professional. You know, whether it's therapy or a psychologist or whatever it is, or your doctor. But don't just wallow in your own self-pity and saying, to the point where you're it's spilling out of you and you're telling people that you want to die and want to kill myself or whatever that is. If you're that far down the road in your depression, suppressed anger, you're really mad at something. If you're that far down the road, you need help. Dear God, if we're that far down the road, I would need help. There's no harm on you. I'm a big fan. Please don't think that this is I'm disparaging you by saying talk to a therapist. I'm a big fan of talking to a therapist.
One of the quotes, I will toss it back to you, one of the quotes I've always said, changed my life, and I came up with it. This is mine. I came up with it, is everybody needs help sometimes.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And I think that is very true. You know, I've gone to a therapist when I had to deal with some problems from me in my past, gleefully, and it did help me. It did help me, and it actually helped me put things in perspective. I'm like, well, how come I'm dealing with these things when somebody else who's had it so much worse than me is able to skip on through it? And she said to me, that person dealt with it. You have not yet. So if you're feeling that bad about yourself, again, you have to wait until you get to the point of whatever it takes to really want to help yourself. If you're enjoying just wallowing there and just feeling bad about I don't want to be a bother to anybody. I don't, that you're probably at that point physically pushing people away by just being like that. Oh, nobody cares about me. How many times have I talked about friends that I haven't seen in a long time? And I have to be careful because I used to do this too, so I'm guilty of it as well. Friends that I haven't seen in a long time. Hey, how you doing? Oh my God, it's great to see you. How are you doing? And then suddenly the floodgates open and the litany of everything wrong in their life. Not, hey, this has been great. Hey, I'm going through some tough times, and yet this is what I'm doing. Is like this. Well, yeah, this bad thing happened. This bad thing. It's like, wow, I just said hi to you, and this is all you're giving me. You're literally pushing people away. And if you're at that point, please get help. Please get help. Now, what can you do as far as if you're in the thick of this and it's not that bad yet, and you're overwhelmed with everything that's going on in your life? You're going to need to baby step it. If you're looking at the whole big picture, you're not going to be able to deal with it. And don't feel bad about that. That's the way it is with everybody. Everybody's like that. I've got stuff in my life right now, not traumatic stuff, but I mean trying to move forward with my life, that if I look at the whole big picture, I shy away from it. I liken it to you order something at the restaurant and they bring this huge, you're starving, and they bring this huge plate of food and it's too much for you to eat. Suddenly you're not hungry. So you're going to have to find a way to piecemeal your joy. You're going to have to find a way to at least find one thing that makes you happy. Whenever I get into a conversation with somebody,
that's what I was going to say. One thing that makes you happy. Yeah.
And they're all they're talking about is how what's bad. I'll stop them and go, okay, what good thing happened to you today? Yeah. What do you like about this person that you've been, telling me how bad they are? How about your spouse? What's good about them? And they'll stop me. What? Like, what's good about them? I hear all the bad stuff. What's good? There's got to be something good. And if there's not, you need to fix your life.
Yeah.
Change your mind, change your life. Change the way you think about things, change your life. And if it's just one positive, get a puppy. Get a puppy, something that gives you joy in your life.
No, puppies poop and pee everywhere. Don't get a puppy.
All right, get a housebroken puppy.
Kid.
Get a cat. They'll poop in the litter box. So those are the small things. And I know that you all have a lot of things going on in your life. I know that you all have a lot of traumatic, vile things that are happening to you and happening to everybody in their life. And life's not always fair, but it is what you make of it. There are people, as bad as you're going through, there are people who have gone through worse and had worse situations happen to them and have turned it around for themselves. It's up to you to do the same thing. You are responsible for the experience. Maybe not for what's happening to you. Maybe not for the vile thing that has happened to you. But you're responsible for your reaction, for exactly how you handle it.
Genosari is saying that they think I have stomach cancer and I refuse to test. Shadow is putting in the chat room, here's the weird thing about me, because he's going through a lot of illness and different things right now too. He's saying there are many days, or no, here's what Shadow says. I do not think my life sucks. I think day by day sucks. The physical pain sucks, but for me it beats the alternative. The fact that I'm still breathing beats not breathing. But there are many days where the darkness can almost overwhelm. There are nights when I crash into the depths. And I was saying that Genesari is we are what we believe we are. Kurt Cobain had thousands of what you would even call worshipers. Kurt Cobain was the lead singer of Nirvana in the 90s, a band. Made it big out of his garage. You know, was on track to be a superstar. Ended up killing himself because he was so depressed. And he was afraid of people. He had anxiety. It's one of those catch-22s. You want to be a rock star, wrote great music. I liked his music, but he wrote music that moved some people, okay?
Right.
He got record deals. He became big. He touched a generation, and he still couldn't see himself the way people saw him. So we are not what we say we are what we believe that we are. And the shadow, you know, I'm saying that you're floating. You're treading water. You're tolerant. When you say day-to-day sucks, the pain sucks, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I've gone through knee surgery. I've gone through stomach surgery. I've been down for the count. I've had to have my wife wait on me, and as sometimes as good as it sounds, it's just not good. I've had to lay in the bed and for 8 hours only play the PlayStation.
Right.
You know, that's all I could do. I couldn't hardly get to the bathroom and go to therapy. But for me, it was what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, and that was a positive for me. And I said it for Kelly Clarkson. Damn it. But I went through, you know, all that, and I fought through everything, and I pushed, and I didn't get mad at the doctors, and I pushed as hard as I thought I could push, and I pushed beyond that, and it hurt like words I can't say here on the show that I have to cut out from earlier, but we are what we believe we are, and I believed I was a person who was going to get past this, and tie that in with what you're saying, find that moment of happiness. When I'm in my darkness, of especially when I was in the office and just being surrounded by negativity and just being frustrated because I can't change anything, I would find myself being angry at my family, being angry at my friends, you know, not putting up with a lot of stuff, pissing people off. But what I found to help was finding a moment of happiness, you know, watching something that made me happy and looking forward to something good. You know, too many people who get caught up in this lifestyle of working 9 to 5 or more, of being miserable, of those long commutes, go, oh, my vacation's coming. And vacation's only a week. And, okay, while you're going for that week, it's good. But if you don't actively work on what's causing you the negativity, as soon as you get back, it's ruined. You know, how many people come back from vacation and say they need a vacation from their vacation? You know, because you just, for a year, you've been away from your family for most of your life. Then for a week, that's all you do is your family. It drives you crazy unless you go into it. What I'm saying is, you get up in the morning, Genesari, and you are what you say you are, what you believe that you are. You're a happy person. You're here again today. So today, she says, her thing, I don't believe she's suicidal. I believe that, like most people, especially ill people, they want to be in a better place. I mean, that's what she says. She goes, I want a better place. I think you can create a better place here. You can create it. Because I've been around people who were sick like that. And all I wanted to do was help them. And I'm there giving my time and loving on them. And it broke my heart. It didn't hurt me. It didn't offend me. I'm trying to be very careful here. It did not, oh, I took a person. No, I'm saying that broke my heart when they were like, oh, I just hate that you have to help me. I was like, no, I'm here because it's my little bit that I can make your life better. And honestly, where I was at the time, making your life better made my life better because my life was pretty crap then too. Right. You know, and your daughter's helping you, your kid's helping you. If they don't want to do it, there's somebody out there who will want to do it. I'm not saying they don't, but it breaks our heart that they have to. You got to know that you're helping their lives.
I think that for some people too, that the indignity of somebody, they might have been a very strong person in there when they were younger, and then having to have people help them, and having to have people do things that wash them and whatever, depending on how far they've gone. Sometimes that the only way that they can express themselves is, oh, I feel bad that you have to be here, that I have to have you here to help me here. And what they really mean is, I wish I could do it myself. I'm tired of this. You know.
Swedish Chef said here, one of their friends got a tattoo of a caterpillar on their shoulder. And when I asked her why, she said, because caterpillars make me smile. If I'm having a bad day, I can look over my caterpillar and know that it'll make me smile. And they're great things no matter how small. Here's my thing to Genesari and to Shadow, is you can't change the fact you're in pain. You can't change the fact that life's taking a massive crap on you. So what can you change? All you can change is what you do today. You know, I'm going to ignore the pain, and I'm going to help somebody else's life. Find somebody who needs your help. You know, talk to people. Jen Sorry said she was a counselor, like a phone counselor for suicide hotlines. And, dude, there's always people who need help. You and I freaking need help from time to time.
I think Swedish Chef's friend had it right. Find a reason to smile.
Find a reason to smile.
Smiling is a big thing, and of course we've all heard the story about the guy that was really had a terminal illness, and then he decided to watch all these comedies and everything, and suddenly the terminal illness went away. I believe that is a documented story, and that it was true. But that's one guy, and I think it's happened with other people as well. I'm not promising you a cure, but a smile makes you feel better. Find a way to smile. If you can only smile, once a day, maybe try to work up to 2 or 3 or 4 times a day. Find things, then begin surrounding yourself with stuff that makes you smile. I'm in pain, and I'm tired of fighting this, and this has happened to me, and I'm sick, and I hate the way I feel. And sure, yes, I understand all those things. Find a reason to smile. Give yourself that gift. Fight back that way. If you don't want to, if you want to throw in the towel on everything else. This sounds very, very glib, and but it's true. It's whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Whether you can believe you can do something about this, whether you believe you're going to have a good life with this disease or you believe you're going to have a rotten life with this disease, you're right. You've got the disease. You've already got it. Now, why not do something about your experience?
There's something we said about feeling like a burden. Nobody wants to feel like a burden. And she came back with her kids have kids of their own to take care of. And grandkids, I like this. Her grandkids make her smile, but I'm not even strong enough to hold them. I understand loss. I understand not being able to do what you desire to do. I think you can again. And I typed to her, my wife. You would think, and it has been, but you would think one of the most pivotal moment of her life was when she met me. Because we got married, we've been together almost 13 years. We got 3.5 good kids, with the fourth being on the way. I call it the half kid, But really, one of the biggest things that changed her life, besides me, was somebody in a similar situation. Somebody who was wheelchair bound, couldn't drive for herself. Towards the end, couldn't even write her own bills. My wife, she got paid a little bit. She got paid right at minimum wage for 8 years. To go, it's just started off as a job. Hey, this doctor friend of hers said, hey, my mom needs somebody to help take care of her. Would you take her shopping? Would you help clean? Yeah, no problem. Make a little extra money. And it became one of the biggest pivotal moments of her life, of just the change, to see that taking care of somebody, to see somebody as a person, as an individual, taught her how to see herself somewhat as an individual. Because before that, no matter how much I tried, I could not get her to see herself as somebody who didn't deserve to be put down, didn't deserve to be trashed, didn't deserve to be talked to like she was talked to by people. To see herself as somebody worthwhile. Helping this lady changed everything, to where after this lady passed away, she still wants to help. She would do it for free. She wants to help somebody. That's what I was saying to Jen. Sorry, it's like, my wife loves to help people like you. She's not a statistical anomaly. And even if it starts off as you paying somebody or getting a volunteer from a church or somebody that just shows up sometimes, that lets you feel like not a burden on your family because they're volunteering for it, so you're not a burden. They chose to come to your house, a stranger. It might turn into something far greater. Just do what I did. Get my newsletter. Find the story. Do what I did. I chose to stop fighting. I didn't choose to take a step forward. I'm not embracing birthdays. I'm not going, yay, I'm awesome. I popped out of somebody. Woo! You made a face, but that's the literalness of it. But I chose to stop fighting. Choose to just step back from the negative.
Maybe one of the things that Jen Sorry can try is finding something to do for somebody else. So that would, to take the burden off of somebody else, something small, so that she feels like she's giving back as well. Mari put something in that I really, really liked. She said, gratitude. Find something to be thankful for. I'm currently doing a 50-day countdown to Thanksgiving on Facebook, where I name one thing I'm grateful for or thankful for each day. Then she goes on to say, thanks, I started it 3 years ago. My dad had cancer, and I needed to find a way to focus on the happy things. I've done it every year since. So that's something. It's a baby step. It's a small thing that doesn't look like it's going to do anything, but it's a small victory. It sounds like right now you're addicted to this emotional state. and you've gotten into the habit of it spilling out of you. I bet there's not a long conversation that you have with somebody, even somebody new, where suddenly they're going to know about your whole story about this stuff. You need to find some positive things to share as well. I know it's hard. You're not going to be able to hold yourself back, but find something that makes you happy, so you can say, you know what, I saw my grandkids smile today, and I had a part in that, and that makes me happy.
Your
you can leave with that.
grandkids wouldn't be there if it weren't for you having kids.
Right.
Your grandkids wouldn't make you smile if it weren't for the input you put into your kids' lives. I mean, it's the things that we lose focus on. And I'm not saying take all the credit. I'm saying you put in work. And crap, I had a great idea on the floss. I did.
See, it's catchy.
Yeah, it is catchy. You know, we are in the world that we make. Habits. The beautiful thing about habits is they can be artificial. They can be arbitrary. You know, we're learning, you and I, Mordant, are learning about how to identify triggers, change the action in between, and get the same end result. You know, for somebody who smokes, you want to quit smoking, you have to, honestly, I think the truth is you have to find the trigger, what makes you want to smoke, and write it down. And then the habit is you smoke, you go out and get that fix. And then you get the result. The result is, oh, I feel so much better, or I'm happier now, or whatever the result is. So you want to quit smoking. Well, if you look at it as an addiction, I'm not saying it's not, but if you look at it like it's an addiction, you go, well, I have to get rid of the trigger, the habit, and the end result. Well, nobody wants to get rid of the end result. We want to be happy. We want to have that moment. You know, you have to, and triggers, cheesy crazy we talked about tonight, sometimes they're impossible to get rid of. Especially if you smoke for 20 years, you're not going to get rid of the trigger. But you can quit smoking.
Right.
You know, habits can be arbitrary. Work, my job, it takes certain keystrokes, certain mouse clicks that I've done for 6 years. I can do it in my sleep. That's why I'm a great teacher, is I can just teach anybody over. I don't have to see what you're doing. I can be on the phone and teach you how to do it. It's a habit that was arbitrarily built in because of work. I want to say this, and I wonder how many of my generation is going to get this. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA. Yeah, you're nodding your head. BA, so let's start. It's a habit because it's a cheat code. It's the first cheat code you ever learned on Nintendo. Everybody who's ever picked up a Nintendo knows that code. That's an arbitrary habit that I haven't played Contra in I've been 5 years old, in 20 years. I haven't played that in 20, and I know that code like that because it's habits can be arbitrary. So you don't have to fix what's bothering you now. Pick a new habit to start that's a positive one, and it'll pull you forward.
Right.
Perfect?
Perfect timing.
Oh, stop. Quit laughing, Jabba.
Just laughing it up. So we want to thank you for listening in tonight on The Other Side of Live to our little rant about the nasty habit of good addictions. We hope that you have found some way to make your life better. If you're really going through a hard time and you're having really bad thoughts about your life and everything, please go out and seek help other than us.
We're not therapy, just a voice.
We are not therapy.
We share stories. We can commiserate. We can help.
We can point.
If you need more than that, yeah, we can point.
We can point. You have to click.
So, there are definitely much larger, more focused helps out there than we could give you.
Those of you who are just zinging their way through life and just not sure about how everything's working, it's up to you the kind of habits that you form in your life. It's up to you what you choose to have as an addiction. You can create new neural pathways so that you're moving towards a positive. And I'm not trying to Pollyanna this. I'm just saying move towards so that you can have a richer life. So that you're not just, oh, my life's okay, but that you can have day after day after day of being happy. And know that that's okay. It's okay for you to feel that way. That was something that I had to learn. Wait, I can be happy day after day after day? Sometimes I have to remind myself of that. So know that you can do that, but it's up to you to take care of this, or at least put you on the path so somebody can help you get there. You got to want it bad enough. Want it bad enough. We're begging you, please. I dare you. Want it bad enough.
So yeah, I've been talking on bearcrawling.com, houseofthebear.com. It's all the same. There's a newsletter link. Click on it. Once a month, we together put out a newsletter. It's everybody who works with us, who's part of our family. They write little articles. You, Mordant, do a video. I write what's becoming longer and longer articles. And every time I write one, like, okay, we'll keep it short. And it just gets longer than the last one. So I'm working on editing those down. But you find out extras that go in. you find out specific moments in our life that might not, fit to the show that we're doing. Do that. Be part of our newsletter. Go and find us on Facebook, facebook.com/BCN Tosol, and find everything that we're doing there. Of course, we talked about nominating us. We'd love. Everybody says great show. If you say a great show, please go nominate us on the podcast awards under the general category. It would mean the world to us because we all have triggers, and for us, that's just a notch in the road. We've gotten far enough to get we got nominated last year. We'd like to keep that up and get nominated again this year. And I'd love to win, but we'll get to that when that time comes.
So if you're listening to us on the podcast, we are live every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, a new time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time at theothersideoflive.com/NAS. And of course, the NAS stands for No Agenda Stream. If you are listening to us live and you want to catch some older shows, you can go to theothersideoflive.com. And of course, we're also available on iTunes.
The other side of .live/tilde /done. And our Amazon. We are working on easier ways for you to do it, but please, if you'd like to support the show, of course, donations are always welcome. You can find that on the various sites. However, we know it's tough. We don't donate anywhere. We try. I try to give to the church I go to. We try. But I do shop Amazon when I need things. If you click on our link, it's on all the Facebook pages. House of the Bear, BC and Tosol, Mordant World. It's on mordantworld.com, theothersidelive.com, and houseofthebear.com. So there's a million places you can go. You can bookmark it. Just search our search box for Amazon. Anything you buy will help us out. I like what Lee Brown says. It's the Robin Hood link. We rob from the Amazon to give to ourselves. But you don't spend an extra dime.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything more to do this. It's just you're just going to the same Amazon. You're just using a different portal to get there.
And Amazon says thank you to us by giving us a small part of it. It doesn't cost you anything. And I gotta say thank you to all those who have been doing it. It's been picking up in the last couple months, and I can tell you it makes all the difference when we're supporting our trips to speak other places, when we're trying to take care of our people and do cool stuff. It helps. It really helps that you believe in us enough that you've been a part of it.
So if you're too school,
thank you very much. That's it. All right, that wraps up this session of The Other Side of Life. This has been our Mordant Mon
and the
foul-mouthed bear.
Answer the foul-mouthed bear.
Ciao, dream catchers.
So raise your glasses.
Boom, baby.